Madeleine's story resumed. One day, a traveler came to our church with a mysterious illness. His face was covered in black pustules, and his skin was pasty. He walked with a limp and seemed ready to collapse at any given moment. He said he had been turned away from Castilla. The villagers would not allow him to stay for fear he would infect everyone. By this point, the traveler had lost any hope that he could be cured. His illness was much too advanced for that. He just wanted somewhere to die with a touch more dignity than the side of a road. Some of the sisters were skeptical, but the Mother Superior remained firm. She said it was our duty as servants of Lady Madeliene to welcome any and all travelers in our church. We nuns followed her orders, of course, and prepared a bed for the traveler so he could die in peace. As he died, he thanked us. I remember that clearly. Though we could do nothing to alleviate his condition, he was thankful from the bottom of his heart. But his presence in the church was like a curse. Within a week of the traveler's death, some of the sisters began to suffer from fatigue. We thought it was a passing illness, but the symptoms persisted until the nuns were inflicted with the same black pustules as the traveler. It all happened so fast. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. The sisters all fell ill in such a short span of time, and then they couldn't eat or drink, and they suffered mysterious pains. The pustules grew and grew, and when they got too big they burst. The smell was indescribable. We nuns who did not succumb tried to help, but we couldn't do a thing. Mother Superior called a physician from Castilla, but he could not help either. He had no advice to give other than fresh air and bloodletting, but it made no difference. Within time, even Bernadette, I do not want to dwell on something so miserable. You should know what happened. You can see how desolate the church is now for yourself. The nuns, all of them, every last one of them, they all died. Even the Mother Superior. They could have run away and spared themselves, but they did not. They remained, trying desperately to tend their fellow sisters, though this spelt their own demise. When I first came to this church, there were 11 sisters. In less than a month, only one remained, me. I do not know why I did not succumb to the sickness. At the time, I wished I had done. I wished I had died with my sisters. They were all friends and family I had, and without them, without Bernadette, life seemed so hollow, so empty. I was left with corpses, and I did not know what to do with them. I walked to Castilla, hoping some of the villagers would help me, but they refused to set foot near the church. I returned all alone and set about the task of burying the corpses myself. I could not simply leave them, not after everything they had done for me. It was an act of reverence, but at the same time, it was suicidal. I hoped, as I buried their wasted bodies in the churchyard, I would also fall ill. As I dug those graves, I was wondering whether one of them would become mine. But though my mind was weak, my body was stubbornly robust. I dug graves and buried bodies for 3 whole days, working long into the night with little food or rest. But I remained fine. Perhaps perversely, my health was fine. In fact, the cool air brought roses to my cheeks, and the physical labor improved my constitution. I seemed to be growing healthier and healthier, though my family, Bernadette, they would never get back up again. I knew that because I was the one who buried them. I put their limp, lifeless bodies into those graves, and I covered them with dirt. I watched as I filled their open mouths with soil. Though doing so seemed unforgivably horrid, I thought I would go to hell. At the time, I hated myself. Why had I survived? Why me? I tormented myself for so long, I almost considered taking my own life. If I could not become sick, I could at least slit my throat or pierce my heart with a silver glass. I did not care what. I was just so lonely. I was accustomed to always being around others, you see, and I had been lucky enough since my birth to always be surrounded by people who loved me, and I fear I had become rather selfish. I wanted to be loved. I was desperate for it, so desperate I could have died. But I remember the story Bernadette told me, that we should not run from our problems. We should take care not to stain our souls, so we may transist to a higher plane of existence. I told myself if I took my life, my soul would be blackened irreparably, and unlike our ancestors from hundreds of years ago, I could not even be able to become a tree. I would just wither and die. So if I could not kill myself, I was close to it, but I knew that it would be unforgivably selfish. I had vowed to be a nun and to spend my life serving others. What manner of nun would I be if, when faced with hardship, I served only myself? I chose to live. Thanks to Bernadette and my faith and all the love I had been fed with my childhood, until I could not be loved any more than I already was, I was able to survive, and I have never regretted it. The travelers stared at Madeliene, their eyes wide beneath the folds of their hood. Clouds in the night sky had parted. The moon showed bright and full high up in the night sky. The stars twinkled around its spectral specters. Had they been so impressed by Madeliene's tale, they had come out of hiding to simply listen? If so, the traveler didn't blame them. This was the strength of a woman who had seen those she loved died before her eyes, unable to do anything. She had buried their bodies on her own when she was only 15. Still a child. She had seen so much death, and yet here she was. She was still alive in this church, and she continued to welcome travelers with a smile. She could still smile, even now, even after everything that had happened. You are really impressive. Oh, it was not solely because of my own strength. I do not mean to brag. I was lonely, no, I was horribly lonely. I remained in this church for almost 5 years, all alone, because it was my duty. I helped those who asked for help, but nobody stayed. In the end, they always left me. I worried, though I had not killed myself, I might collapse from loneliness. Living on your own is not a pleasant experience. There was nobody to talk to. Until you met Daffodil. Indeed, until I met Daffodil. I can keep going because of her. She gives me hope, though she does not realize it. She thinks I support her, but is not nearly so one-sided. She supports me too. Like the souls in that parable. That's right. Madeliene nodded firmly, her face bright and beatific, with its soft, guileless smile. She is like my anchor, my other half. Perhaps it would be more fitting if I called her a soulmate. Soulmate? The traveler repeated Madeliene's makeshift title. A soft, sweet epithet filled to the brim with love. How could anybody show scorn for such simple, sweet affection? The night passed without further event. The traveler was able to snatch a few hours' worth of sleep on the wooden pew curled up inside their damp cloak. They did not know if Madeliene had stayed with them throughout the night, but the traveler presumed she had. Judging by her story, she was the kind of woman who gave herself to others completely, even if they were not able to appreciate it. She had told the traveler she would accompany them throughout the entire night, so she had. Oops. Okay, I messed up there. And the new day dawned. The inky black night was swept away by the sun, and along with it the rain clouds. They seemed to disperse with the first shy rays of sunshine, as though the torrential downpour from last night had been a mere mirage. The traveler found themselves standing in the entrance of the church, their cloak wrapped tightly around them like a protective shroud. Madeliene and Daffodil were there fussing over their newfound companion, or rather Madeliene was fussing. Daffodil, as in keeping with her character, kept her distance. Are you sure you'll be all right? I don't want you to get lost on your way to Castilia. It'll be fine. I'm a traveler by nature. I wouldn't be able to travel if I got lost. Like you did on your way here, you mean? The traveler shot a glare at Daffodil. I'm not paying for your cheek, missy. You're not paying us at all. Touché. In fact, I think you should pay us. You ate our food and took up Madeleine's precious time. It was rather selfish of you to keep her all to yourself last night. Ah, so Madeliene really had been sitting by the traveler on the pew all night, had she? The traveler was touched. But Daffodil did not look happy about this. She hung back, huffing childishly. How on earth was such an irritating brat a nun? It didn't seem like a very suitable profession. Pay up! You owe me. Now, Daffodil. It is our duty to care for travelers. This is part of being a nun. It would be wrong if we asked for reimbursement. Well, I don't care about the food that much. But they monopolized your company for the whole night. That's priceless. If it's priceless, there's no way I can pay you back. I am willing to accept your firstborn child. So now you're a witch? I could be. I'll become anything. A witch or a monster or a demon for Madeleine's sake. I'm very flattered, but I wouldn't want you to become a heathen on my account. And I don't think you should be announcing that in a church, either. I won't back down on this. Your firstborn child or your life. I don't think I'm going to have any children anytime soon. I'm not the type to settle down and start a family. Why do you want a child so much anyway? I don't want a child. I hate children. They smell and they make too much noise. So why? It isn't for my sake. I think it would make Madeliene happy, that's all. Oh my, I'm very flattered. You get flattered far too easily. That isn't anything special. I worry raising a child in a lonesome environment like this would be cruel, though. It wouldn't. Not if they had a mother like you. That is very sweet of you to say. Think nothing of it. It's true. Anybody would be lucky to be raised by a woman like you. I know I nag you a lot, but I really do think you're impressive. You do? Yes, I always have done. Daffodil turned her head to one side. Her cheeks were burning. For an awkward girl like Daffodil, being honest like this must have stung. It looked physically painful. Genuinely. Anyway, what are you still doing here? Are you trying to spy on us? Perish the thought. I value my life more than that. Though seeing Daffodil blush was rather amusing, it wasn't worth the hate-filled glare the traveler was receiving. The true nature of Daffodil and Madeleine's relationship was interesting, but the traveler did not want to pry. They already knew enough. It was what Madeliene had said last night. They were soulmates, united by the bond of love stronger than anything the traveler could imagine. Stronger than anything they could understand. Daffodil and Madeliene already had one another. They did not need an unwanted interloper. Madeliene might have had a dismal past, but that was well and truly in the past. She had buried the bodies of family she loved so much, including her beloved Bernadette, and had managed to find a new family, a family of two. If they were being honest with themselves, the traveler was jealous, but they knew there was no sense dwelling on it. A new day had dawned. Okay. It was time for them to start moving. The end. That's it? Where's the goblin? Oh, wait. Lycoris. I see. Lycoris? Lycoris reclines in her rocking chair, her fingers steeped together. She looks thoughtful. That appears to be one ending of the story, but there is more to be discovered. My heart tells me this cannot be all. Grandma Mia, are you still here? Grandma Mia! You hear Lycoris calling out to you in the darkness. The sound of her voice, now so familiar, makes your heart flutter. It takes you a few moments to realize you're sitting in a chair in Lycoris's library. The smell of peppermint and old parchment fills the air, mixed with mold and mildew. Just how old is this library anyway? Just how old are you? Your bones should have turned to dust a long time ago. But against all odds, you are still here. Oh, good. I was beginning to worry. You did not respond to me for several minutes, and your form had begun to grow indistinct. You were fading away. That can happen when you don't have a strong grasp on your own soul. The darkness threatens to consume you, and there is naught you can do in difference. How can one claim to truly exist when they do not know their own name? You know, Grandma Mia is not your real identity, is it? But if you are not Grandma Mia, then who are you? That is what we shall discover. We just need to keep reading. The story may appear to be over, but it will repeat as many times as necessary until I am satisfied. It is hiding something within its depths, but I cannot reach it. Not yet. With you by my side, however, whether you call yourself Grandma Mia or not, it makes no difference. We can do it. I know we can. What do you say? You feel weak. The blood inside your veins is thinning, and your fingertips tremble with the effort of simply existing. Your body is frail, buckling beneath the pressure of being alive. You have not had a human body in such a long time, you quite forgot what a strain it was. It would be easier to sink into the abyss until your weak sense of self is snuffed out like a speck of light. But you know you can't. Not when Lycoris is looking at you so expectantly. Let's start the story again. Let's take a break first. Let's take a break. You wish to rest for a few minutes? You nod. You do not know how you are able to nod, as your head feels dull and heavy, but you nod all the same. That is understandable. You do seem rather tired, and I would not want to push yourself too far. If you peruse the truth too recklessly, you might forget what scraps little information you already know. I would not want you to destroy yourself. I do not want to lose you again. Lycoris. Her name feels the most natural thing in the world. More natural than the beating of your eyeballs, or the dull pain in your skull, or the blood that forces itself through your veins. How many times have you said this name before? Yes, you know now. She really is important to you.